Continuing our journey with adjustment layers, let's look at how we can use adjustment layers with multiple layers in a Photoshop document. So I took one of the images from our friends at Photospin, and I've actually modified it. It's actually a PSD right here. Double-click and open that one. Okay, big sky. Let me go ahead and make that a little bit bigger on the screen. Let me show it to you over here. Here's the original in background. I'm going to turn that off for a second. I have the land in one layer, and I have the sky in another layer. Now, we will get into how I did this, but I did it with a channel selection over here, right there. Now, we're going to make a couple of these because I love working with selection that's complicated using channels. But for now, don't worry about that. Let's get back into the Layers panel and Adjustment Layers. I want to play around with this image. I would like to adjust the sky and the land separately. That's my goal here, I guess. So the first thing we do is we go to Layer 1, which is the sky. Why don't we do this? I'm going to double-click on Layer 1 and name it Sky. Why? I don't know, I guess because it is. Now here's a trick. If you want to name the next layer down, you don't have to move your cursor and double-click on Layer 2, press the Tab key, and it'll go right down there and open it up for you. Another neat little trick to work with. Let's go back to Sky, and let's open up our adjustments right here, and let's get into this next section. These are kind of like colorization effects, and you've got all these different ones to work with. Let's go to Vibrance. That sky is really vibrant. So I'm going to go into Vibrance. In Vibrance, our panel opens up. You've got Vibrance, which is the vibrancy of the color, not its saturation, and you've got Saturation. But here's the problem. If I move saturation backward or forward, everything changes. Why? Because adjustment layers drill down through everything. So the first thing we have to do is select vibrancy over here, and then click this neat little button right there. And if you watch the vibrancy layer, you get a little arrow pointing down, everything pushes this way, and watch what happens when I change saturation now. The only thing that changes is that one layer because we have it grouped with the Vibrancy 1 adjustment. And actually, you know what? Coming down this way, that looks kind of neat. Almost looks Ansel Adams kind of way. Let's say we like that. We'll stop there. And we want to work on the next one down. So we go to Land. We go to that same button here, but let's do something different this time. Let's go into Hue and Saturation. That's a pretty basic one, but you can have some fun with it. We could try colorizing it. We could go into and change the hue. Now, the reason it's only working with that layer, even though we haven't clipped it, is obvious. There is really nothing else down here. This layer is turned off. But I would say just to keep everything neat, let's go ahead and select that layer and click the clip button right here. Now, you can come back to Vibrance, decide to maybe change that around a little bit. Whatever you want to do. When you have multiple layers and you want to control elements of the multiple layers alone, you don't want all the layers to follow along, all you have to do is click this button right down here to group it with that one layer. On to the next.